Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show. Do you remember you and I did one of the first podcast? I think the first podcast I ever did where I was interviewed
at my office.
And your podcast, and then never
got launched. I still have that. We could repurpose it. Well, he never launched it. I've been mostly a guest. I've never launched my own podcast, but you were one of my original clients.
You know what's funny is I was just at a place, I just came from a place today, which I believe was your vision 10 years ago. I would say, was it about 10 years ago where we were meeting at your office, a spiritual gangster, and we were doing IV drips, we were doing cold plunge, we were doing the red light, we were doing whatever biohacking gadget we could find. You'd have it there. We're doing the massage, we're doing the back cracking of that one. We were doing the water on our feet. Do you remember that?
Of course.
And you were like, you had like 10, 15 guys, and we were all in there doing all these treatments. And you said, I want to get a couple people and I want to launch some sort of this type of thing, right? It never happened.
So it's interesting. We had this whole thing built and we were going to launch it, and then COVID came, so we didn't launch it.
Is that why?
But now we're still like, this is what I'm doing now, right? We're building all these pieces together. And what's so incredible is the technology has come so far in the last 5 years, like going to A4M and seeing this stuff. But now that's basically what we're doing. But like I walk into all these places, I'm like, hey, dude, it seems like someone was listening to our notes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I just came from a place, they reached out to me, and I walked, the place was a freaking 45-minute drive. But when I walked in, it was beautiful. It was all white. They had areas for IV drips. They had a red light bed. They had a hyperbaric chamber that I've never seen anything like this before. Inside the hyperbaric chamber were Mercedes-Benz leather seats. They did all kinds of drips, and they had cold plunge. They did have cold plunge. They had sauna. They had cryo. It's called Next Level. Have you heard of it? Because it's a franchise out of Los Angeles.
Okay. I think I've seen the one in LA. But what's cool is like, the people listening, there's these places popping up everywhere.
Right.
And I think, you're a huge biohacker. I've been doing this stuff. We've been doing this stuff 10 years.
Right.
But what I really believe in now, and especially the stuff we're learning from like the gurus, is most of these biohackers are miserable, right? Whereas like the people who have the beautiful state, like you need to control your state if you're going to biohack, right?
Right.
And I think these things go hand in hand. So I think having all these technologies, these things in places where people can go and experience, and the social element of it's huge. But I also think too, it gets to like the deeper question of what we're talking about, right? And what we've learned about. It's like, okay, it's like, how's your state underneath all this? Because if you live longer and whatever, but if you're still miserable and you're no fun to be around, and
so it's different levels.
Stuff doesn't work.
You're saying in here or in here.
Well, I'm saying like all that stuff works, right? All the biohacking stuff works if your state's right. Okay. If you're a miserable state, you can red light, bed, cryo all day long. It doesn't really matter.
So how do you get into a beautiful state?
Well, I mean, that's the stuff we've been seeking for years. Like, even stuff we learned at Tony Robbins, where we found the Christianity people and the oneness people. But I think a lot of it is the technology of meditation, learning like, what am I thinking about now? And then
you meditate every day.
Every day. And your wife is I mean, you're on the air, but your wife is like one of our regulars.
Right.
And every morning is how I wake up. And that sort of sets the tone.
And you haven't missed a meditation. I
haven't missed in 19 months.
Wow. Every morning,
6 a.m. and 8:30.
Right.
But it's, what I realize is my nighttime routine is not as good as my morning routine, but my, part of, I think, as I'm growing and learning and, we've been at this a long time and circling a hoop and trying to figure it out. But I realize that, for at least in my life, my morning is everything. So if I meditate, I go to an AA meeting, I journal, I do the meditation, we'll do the cold plunge, we'll look at the sun, but those are the things that are sort of non-negotiable. Like then I'll start my day, and then everything is like magic and serendipity. But, when I didn't do those things and didn't have the consistency of that morning, all bets were off and things weren't working as well in my life. That was the big thing that I see. Like, you and I have been friends for a long time, and when we were friends, everything was working for me. And then I went through a phase where everything wasn't working, right? And I was in a massive suffering state, and I was really searching to figure out like, what can I do to switch this stuff up?
So when you say things weren't working for you,
well, like this spiritual gangster, we built an incredible business that was going straight up. And then I was suffering a lot about it, and the business wasn't working the way it was. And we were having fights with partners. And, I made some aggressive financial decisions where I felt like I had lost a lot of money. And then our daughter got cancer. So all these things in my life were just, and then I started suffering and got in this repetitive loop about all this stuff. And it took me a long time to break it. I had to get sober. I had to go to India. I had to change my thinking to change my reality.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, my life on the external looks almost the same thing, same family, same house, but everything's flowing, right? Because I'm different and I'm seeing all this stuff differently. And I mean, I give all the credit to that, to like the meditation, changing my state, the oneness stuff, Joe Dispenza even. Like,
did you go to one of his events?
Yeah, I went to one of his events in Cancun. I'm going back for 10 days. It's incredible.
I want him on this podcast.
You should have him for sure.
Can you connect me with him?
Yes, we will do that. When I come back from Mexico, he would be great for this. And, I've studied with a lot of people, but he's done a great way of making the scientific practical and demystifying it all. And I got so much clarity when I left that event.
Did you go with DeMarco?
I went by myself, but Craig's gone, and he's gone back. I talked to him yesterday. He just sent me the screenshot of him signing up for the advanced one because I told him I'm doing it. Yeah. But it's incredible. It's a field. The guy's got 2,200 people in there, and it's an energetic field where all these miracles become possible. You see healing. It's incredible.
He's there. So many, it's weird how things come full circle. Many, many years ago, I had a boss that was Buddhist. And he would always try to get me to believe in his theories. And I was so against it. And he made me watch a movie with him I think it's called What the Bleep Are You Thinking?
Yeah, of course. I remember that.
And I got so angry at him for pushing this movie at me. And I didn't understand it. I went and found it the other day and watched it. And it's brilliant. And it's Joe.
And it probably now, the thing is, it's like, it's when you change, Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So here you are looking at the same movie, which you had such contempt for, and now you're like, wow, this is brilliant.
It's brilliant. And it's Joe Dispenza is like the main guy.
Well, and he's been at it for years, right? He's been ahead of us. And these events used to be 20 people. Now he's got 2,200 people. And he's got science with it, and he's backing it, and he's explaining it all. Yeah. But he is doing an incredible job of getting this. I mean, what he's teaching is ancient,
He raised his testosterone without doing anything weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Like, they'll take people who go to these seminars and they'll take their blood, they'll take pictures of them, and at the end of a week, all their blood's different. They look younger.
Did they do that to you?
They didn't do it to me because in Mexico they don't do it, but in Colorado they do that. But I felt way younger. I came back, everyone was like, "Oh my God, you look way younger."
Well, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, and you have a totally different vibe.
I feel like I'm getting younger all the time. I mean,
so what are you doing? What do you when you say you're getting younger outside of the mental game? What are you doing biohacking wise? Cold plunge.
I'm doing cold plunging. Obviously we do red light. I found my favorite new red light bed was Elysium red light bed. We do the Nano V hooked up to that, which is it folds the cells so your body can take in minerals and stuff a lot better.
Is it an IV? What's it called?
No, it comes through your nose. It's like our friend Roy, who you might have met, they invented this, but it's like it's Goop's #1 product. It's great.
And it's called what?
It's called the Nano V.
I've never heard of it.
I'll bring you one. It's
I don't
great.
think I've heard of it. Yeah.
And then I just did stem cells last week, so I've done stem cells twice,
Finally.
3 times.
I've been trying to get you stem cells.
Yes,
but you did them here.
Peptides. Yeah, I did them here, and we're going to talk about that later.
We can talk. You want to talk about off air? You want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know. So, I mean, we found a guy here who does placenta stem cells.
Right.
But I mean, I've done it twice. I played golf for 4 or 5 days in the Dominican Republic. I came back. I was sore. I got stem cells. I was skipping down the golf course. I could see better. I could hear better. I was opening my sunroof, singing to the top of my lungs. Like, I feel incredible. So
the only thing I'm not educated enough to tell the difference, but I do know the people around me that are educated enough say the ones you get like that I go get are totally different than the
and
ones
that's
you
what
get
everyone says to this. But then I found a guy who's doing here what they say you can't get here. You have to go to Korea or you have to go to Panama.
Right, well, here's what I figured out. Here's what I've been told is the difference. So, like, how many stem cells did you get?
3.6 billion.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
I'll bring
you got exosomes or something.
No, we got both. We did exosome.
Because the stem cells they do here, from what I've been told by the experts, because like Utah has allowed it, Arizona's allowed it, another state has allowed it, but they're 5 to 10 million. When you go to Mexico, they expand them. You get 200. I get 200 million.
So we have. I want to take you to this guy. I can't wait to see. But I think I found the guy in the United States where you don't have to leave the United States for.
Is he? And he's here.
He's here.
City?
He's here in Scottsdale, the airport. We'll keep his identity.
Oh, I know exactly who he is.
Okay.
He goes to the Suns games. He sits behind me. I'm almost positive.
Okay.
If I show you his number,
we won't blow his identity on the air, but we will afterwards.
Wait, I know exactly who he is. Okay. I'm supposed to meet with him. I mean,
even better. Of course.
I've seen him of course.
Of course.
Hold on. Darn it. I gotta look. Does he have a complicated name?
No.
It's not like a Larry. I mean,
it's easy.
Really? Okay. Yeah. This guy's name
may or may not, but we're gonna see. But either way, we're gonna field trip together.
Okay. All right. So wait. I have to just get back to quick to biohacking. You are the first person I've ever met that had an Oura ring.
Yeah, but I still have it. I was friends with the founder of Oura. I
know that is so. I mean, I'm talking about Oura rings are everywhere now, and you were literally the first person. When did you get an Oura ring and how?
8 years ago, probably. And the guy who created it, I met the founder, this guy Harpreet. And I put a little money early in the seed round, but it's a great, I was always in the quantifiable, right? Like, how do I, and I wear the Whoop also, but, I think, one of my talents is I'm always ahead of the curve by a lot of years, right? And that's like even stuff that we've been doing together now is becoming more mainstream.
Right. I mean, when we were cold plunging, nobody was cold plunging. But wait, so you meet the guy and you invest in Oura ring?
I met the guy. I loved it. He was part of Joe Polish's Genius Network. He came out to Arizona.
He is?
Yeah, he was. And I think
everybody's connected to Joe Polish.
Yeah, Joe Polish is definitely connected to a lot of people. But yeah, and then he was out here and then he was raising some money and I put some of my friends into the deal. Everyone did really well.
So did you cash out with a lot of cash?
I have some stock in Oura now and I got a little cash, yeah.
I mean, would you say it was a great investment?
It was a great investment. I wish I would have invested more. I put in very little.
Wow.
But it was great.
Man, I had Joe Polish on this podcast. The guy's
Joe's great.
He's unbelievable. He's so
and I've known Joe I've been since 2000 maybe.
Wow. So tell me about Of Course.
So Of Course,
it's an Ian phrase.
It came about the idea. Of course, I'm in a YPO forum and I'm in a YPO Gold forum. But we would get together every month and people would always have an experience that was like better than they could imagine. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. Something incredible happened. They say it's unbelievable. I'm like, why are you always saying unbelievable when something awesome happens? Why don't you say totally believable? So it first went to totally believable and then it became of course. Like whenever we do anything, it's like, of course we're in the front row. Of course this guy did this thing for us. Like
But you've been saying it as a natural way of speaking.
Well, and I think too,
anytime there was any kind of coincidence, you're always like, of course.
And I think of course is relanguaging, like even coincidence. Coincidence means perfect alignment. It comes from the Latin. When two angles are in perfect alignment, they coincide. In English, people say coincidence means like it doesn't even, it's not supposed to happen, right? But of course is when you're living in a beautiful state, when you're creating your reality from 5D, of course is the frequency that you bring to you, right? Like magic, every time you and I hang out, it's magical.
Every time.
And it's been that way for years.
Right. I like your beard, by the way.
Thank you. I was thinking, I almost shaved it today. I felt like
it looks good. So you started, of course, seminars or what do you call it?
So it's really like, maybe a mastermind. It's similar to Tony Robbins' Platinum program, but it's a way of like, I realized that my real gifts is like I'm a messenger and I'm a teacher. I love to teach. So it's taking the 15 years of teaching yoga and taking all the chakras and all the meditation and mixing it with business and entrepreneurial, but it's really teaching people how to live a beautiful life and change their state. So we do, a lot of events. We just did an event up Savannah here in Arizona. We do a bunch of these smaller events. It's culminating. We have a year-long group that we're taking to the pyramids in Egypt on the eclipse next year. So every year we're going to visit a sacred site. The first one we're going to do the pyramids and we're going to go on the eclipse. We're going to go in these active portals. And then we're going to spend a week. We have a place in Mexico at Costa Palma. So we're going to go a deep dive there. We're really teaching all the information and then we're going to go and experience it. Like part of what I realize is like, at this point, no one gives a shit about what you know. It's like, what can you experience and translate it? So it's like all the stuff that I've been doing now the last 30 years is teaching people how to get in those states much more quickly over the course of like a week.
How does all this stuff you're doing affect like family? Because I know you got young kids.
I feel like I'm the most aligned I've ever been in my life. I mean, thank God, I'm sober, which is a huge state of that. So I'm way more present with my family. But like my kids are healthy. We had some health issues with the kids, which took a lot from the family. You know, but it's great. You know, it's wonderful. My youngest is 13, Jedi 16, and they're just every day they're just like thriving. So it's cool. And you know, a lot of it is like what I'm teaching is, you know, I get chances to share it with the kids, right? And sometimes they'll come on the meditation, mostly not, but giving them a way to get this way of thinking into their reality.
I've bumped into your son Jedi quite a bit over the
At
last
one
couple of months.
stop.
At one stop at the golf tournament. I've seen him like so many times. And I have to tell you something. I want to make a prediction or I want to guide you a certain way. That dude, that kid could be a supermodel. That's a good looking kid. Like he's got a look about him.
Thank God for my wife. I mean,
He's a good-looking
he's
kid.
a good-looking kid.
Like-
and he's got great energy. He's got the charisma.
He does. But I mean, how is he not doing spiritual gangster stuff? Start him off that way, get
Yeah.
a portfolio and get this kid, this guy, he needs to be on the big screen. He's got a look. He's got something about him. You know what
I'm
I
going
mean?
to share that with him for sure.
I told him that when I see him.
And I think, you know, it's we want to just get him out. And he's great. He's doing all these great experiences and putting himself out there. And
Yeah.
but I think that would be great. And
Has he come to you for advice on anything, or does you?
yeah, he's pretty good. We have a great relationship.
That's
I
good.
think that's, you know, like I feel like he's a good buddy as well, that we can talk about a lot of stuff and just keeping open and honest conversation. He is at the phase though where he's got all the answers. So it's like,
Right.
I got to like, you know, one of the things like it's okay to let him be wrong.
Right.
Right. It's okay.
I see you have the Enough bracelet. I just got one a couple of days ago. I
Yes.
haven't put it on yet.
So it's great. Our good friend Blake, and Blake has been a good friend of mine now for a long time, 15 years. But we have a mutual friend, Dirk Bentley, who reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, have you talked to Blake a while ago?" This is about a year ago. And I said, "No, what's up?" And he said, "Blake's struggling. He's in rehab. Go see him. He's in Sedona." So I went up and spent a day with him. I shared with him about like my struggles and going to India and kind of where I was at in my life. And then we had our gurus here. So it was like when I came here for the podcast with Krishna, Blake came down. He met our gurus. He spent some time with Krishna Ji. And then he went off to India. And in India,
Did he go to their place?
he went to their place in India.
Oh, man.
So when he was in India during one of the meditations, he came up with the idea for enough. And the whole idea was like, hey, he realized that as a kid, he wasn't enough. And that's why, like, you know, as a tennis player, he had to be like top ranked tennis player, and everything he did with Tom's was from a state of lack, and with his marriages and everything else. And he realized like that for him, like the deep message was, I'm not enough. So, you know, I think it's a great message for people. I'm going to give you this, Johnjay.
I have one.
But I'm going to give it to you off my wrist because, you know, one of the greatest things about this bracelet and what it does, and I find it when I share it with people, it's even better, because the idea is the bracelet makes me realize it's like, hey, I am enough. But when I give it to you, you're one of the people, I've been friends with you for a long time. You're one of the people who make me feel like I'm enough. And even being on the show and like, you know, there's so much, it's wonderful to share and talk to things about you, but I'm giving you that bracelet because you really make me feel that I'm enough. And two, you are enough.
Well, thanks, man. Sadly, though, this isn't big enough to go around my fat wrist.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah. No, but I got two of them because, you know, what's funny is I follow
three.
Blake on Instagram and I saw his posts. So I reached out to the company and talked to him, and I bought 2 bracelets and I bought a hoodie. And then I wanted him on my podcast. And then I met Jillian, his partner, business person, and I want her on the podcast too. And I had a long conversation with her. And you know what's funny? She told me he went to India. And I said, and she goes, he went to India to go meet with these girls. It's amazing. Here we go. Of course, that you're the guy, that got him to go to India. Because I said to her, and I don't know if you know this or not, but the very, very first guest I ever had on this podcast was Krishna Ji. He was my first guest. And I told her, I said, you know, I do this podcast. I want to have you and Blake on. I said, and she goes, well, you know, he was in India. And I go, India, where? She goes, I don't know where. And I go, wait a minute. I said, let me send you this link. I go, this is the first guest I had on the podcast. And it's these gurus from India. And then I went and I hosted all that stuff with them and became friends with them. Like I'm literally friends with those gurus. You know what I mean? Isn't that weird?
Course, what's cool? I mean, one of the best stories of the story is how we even found out about him.
Oh, yeah. From Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how we pursued that, chased those people down, right? I chased down the one-armed drummer from Def Leppard.
Yeah, we didn't even occur to us to go chase down the guru.
No, I know.
Well, here's another thing I realized too, like the word chase. I had in a meditation come to me is chase is a low frequency. I don't chase down anything anymore.
Okay.
It comes to me. I attract
How
it
do you
all.
change that? How do you change that power?
Because, well, It's the whole idea, and Joe Dispenza better than anyone teaches this. It's the idea of manifesting from 3D versus 5D. When you're in 3D, you're like, okay, I want to meet the guru, right? Let's say use that as an example. Or I want to get this car. You love cars. I want to get this new Lamborghini. And in 3D, it's here I am right now. I don't have the Lamborghini, or I don't have the meeting with the guru. Here I am, here I have the Lamborghini, and then I get the Lamborghini, I feel happy. Or I get the blessing from the guru, I feel happy. But when you're getting it, you don't have it. You're in lack, right? So everything in 3D is, I want that. It's going to make me happy. When I get it, I'm going to get this energy. What happens in 5D, and this is why we meditate, because you get out to the field, the void, is I've already met the guru. And I feel how great it feels when I meet him. Or I already got the Lamborghini.
And since you feel it, it happens.
Yeah. So the way it works is most people, when they talk about manifestation, they say visualize. And you want to visualize it with color and energy and feeling. If it's a new car, the smell, your hands on the wheel, how it goes. But then what makes it really work is you're out in the state, you're visualizing it, but then you load it with emotion. What kind of joy it's going to bring for you, for your family, what it's going to do for other people. But it's the emotion that charges it, and then it attracts it to you.
So Tony Robbins, when we were there in Palm Beach, you and me, we were doing vision boards, and right, and so now it's that different. It's deeper.
It's like, the whole thing, The Secret, what the bleep, all these things contain pieces from the message.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, by going all these years with Tony Robbins, with the gurus, with Robin Sharma, with all these yoga teachers, I've been able to kind of see how all these pieces fit together. So it's the idea of Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, like, change your state, and you try to rah-rah into it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I believe now is you can't rah-rah into state. You got to observe your state, figure out where it's at, and then you've got to change your frequency, which is your state, your vibration, to joy, to abundance. And then in that frequency of joy, abundance, this higher frequency, you got to charge it with emotion and know that it's already happened. So it's like, one, you've got to feel like it's already happened. And two, you've got to flood yourself with as much emotion and energy as possible. And you'll start to magnetize your current reality, where most people are like, okay, I don't have this. I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and then I'm going to get this. Here you're like, don't worry about how. I already have it. I feel how it is and how it's going to be when I have it. And then the universe rearranges itself to get it for you.
And this can only happen in meditation?
Well, it can only happen when you get into the void, to the limitless
void
field.
Is
Where so basically the way it works is we're living in 3D and we all feel separate. Ian's separate than Johnjay. We're all separate, right? And you feel this, and the separation is an illusion. Mm-hmm. And part of what we learned in India, the punchline at the end of the 6 weeks, is there is no self. The self is this illusion, and this illusion of the self is built through all these resentments and other stuff. And once you kind of get rid of the illusion of the self, you're left with nobody, nothing. And when you're nobody, nothing, everything's available, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to get away from this self-identity through meditation and getting rid of the bondage of the self and this self-centric thinking, all the sufferings, obsessive self-centric thinking. And then you get out to the place where you're unbound and everything's possible immediately.
I want to ask you something. You've brought up AA and rehab and being sober. But do you talk about what you were doing during that time? And I ask you that because there's a story you told me about being at a sphere. Do you talk about that?
So, of course. I mean,
because
I think
the story that you told, I went to the sphere.
Well,
I went to the sphere sober.
So I've been to the sphere sober a few times. I've been to the sphere 30 times. I've seen 25 dead shows. I saw Zach Brown a couple times. I've seen Fish. But what I realized, and I got this.
Like, you should be dead, right?
I could be dead very easily.
Right.
And I mean, but what I realized is, I'm a mystic. Like, in this lifetime, I'm a mystic. And if you look at my last 3 years of my life, I went to the most advanced training to be a mystic. I went to the sphere on every drug on the planet simultaneously, chasing these mystical experiences. I spent 6 weeks in silence in India. I spent time with Dispenza, Tony Robbins, Sadhguru, right? But I've been chasing all these mystical experiences sober through gurus and through the sphere and every drug on the planet. I mean, the thing that really, people like the experience for me that really woke me up, and when I chose to get sober, I was, I took my rabbi first to the sphere and he loved it. And he's like, this is great. And he calls me, he's like, hey, I want to meet John Mayer. I'm like, awesome. Like who doesn't, right? So I'm in Cabo and we have a place at Costa Palmas and I go meet my best friend there who built the place. And he's like, you got to meet this guy. I'm like, okay, great. This guy's about, I don't know, 60 some odd years old. He's got hair down to his waist. And we start talking. He says, well, where are you coming from? I'm like, oh, I just came from Vegas. What are you doing there? I said, I saw the Dead and Company. He's like, you like it? I said, it's amazing. I've been there 10 times. At the time I'd been there 10 times. He's like, I've been there 20 times. I'm like, what the fuck do you do? He's like, I'm John Mayer's manager. So cut to, now I'm in John Mayer's manager's box the next weekend at the Dead. I go Thursday night, have a great time, kind of keep my act together. The next night I go with a friend of mine who was my wingman here at like the height of my drug use. And I'm like, okay, let's, but we did like 4 drugs going into it. I said, let's not bring the ketamine. I brought the ketamine. Cut to like halftime of the box. I go in the box, I do ketamine, and instead of watching the second set and going to meet John Mayer afterwards, I pass out in a K-hole on John Mayer's manager's shoulder. So I was like, are you kidding me? And I got home, I was like, I'm like a sieve. I'm manifesting all this stuff that's going right through me. So I called my gurus and I'm like, I got to make some changes. They're like, don't have a drink till we get here. I ended up starting AA. I went to a rehab program. But it was great. I mean, what I realized is that I was trying to chase all these mystical experiences through like drugs. And it was a problem. Like I kind of got home from one time. My kid was like, you're retarded. My wife was like, I'm worried I'm going to get a call from one of your buddies that you're going to kill yourself. Mm-hmm. But when I look back on it now, I'm so grateful because some of the experiences I had in those states, like have completely prepared me. Like a lot of the things that I had in India on no drugs, these mystical experiences, I was having similar mystical experiences on, you name it, at the sphere. And a lot of those pathways are open to me now. So I don't have to do drugs anymore to get out there. And I know when I go out, like I'm able to get to these mystical states without drugs anymore.
Aren't some of these drugs though, couldn't they be used for therapeutic stuff?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, ketamine's great. It's disassociative, right? And you're able to, so I think all these things, DMT opens up all these pathways, but the body creates all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And the problem, like, Sadhguru, who's become a good friend of mine, I play a lot of golf with him. He's like, Ian, if you're taking these drugs, you're just jumping on a trampoline and you're looking over the wall. But now what I'm learning with the meditation, the practices, moving energy, changing my frequency, Kundalini, I can now just walk over there, right? I don't need the drugs to jump up and down the trampoline.
But have people in your life seen the change and acknowledge it?
For sure.
I mean,
people, like everywhere I go, Johnjay, people are like, oh my God, your energy is so good. Or like, right. I was just I'm at New York for my birthday. I went to the Knicks game with my wife and my kids. I met a guy there. 3 minutes later, he invited my son and I on like this golf trip to like this crazy place in the Dominican Republic, sent us on like a $50 million airplane as his guest. 3 minutes after meeting him, right? Well, but that has kind of stuff happens to me all the time. So you followed up
and he pulled
I was like, is this a real invitation? He's like, this is, and then all of a sudden I was supposed to host a YPO trip that got canceled out of the blue, like got reorganized, like without I was the day chair of. But my energy, when I show up for things, like people love to bring me for stuff because when I'm like, if you like what you're doing, bring me, you'll love it.
Right. No, that's
like it gets
true.
Even better.
Right. Now I remember one time after you and I we were going through our Tony Robbins phase that you called me from his place in Idaho. You were in his house.
Yeah.
You're like, dude,
that's where I got the biocharger.
The biocharger, right. You're like, he's got a biocharger. I've got
and he had all he was ahead of he had all this stuff, right? When we were, but I think that, we also have an ability that we get around people who we like or have great energy, whether it's Tony or the gurus. And I brought the guru to your podcast, right? I got to sit here for that. And, people, I'm in New York. He's doing an event in New York and I'm bringing him to speak at my YPO forum to 6 people. It's like the Pope coming, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we have this incredible energy that people want to be around us.
Wow, man. So he's speaking to 6 people?
Yeah, he's coming into my friend's apartment and speaking at their apartment to us after his event.
Wow. Oh, he's doing...
he's just doing a small thing like
because he does some corporate stuff. And
which is like, hey, I have some friends coming, we talk to them.
And they're from your YPO group?
Yeah.
From New York?
From here. Wow. So we're just doing
so they're going to go to New York.
And the perfect serendipity, they're flying in Monday and his event is Sunday night. And of course.
Wow. So what else? What's going on with Spiritual Gangster? Anything new? Because I heard at one point you were going to take it back.
We're still helping out. My wife and I, we're not day-to-day at all in it. I just wrote a book that's coming out in 3 months called The Way of a Spiritual Gangster. So I hope that's going to generate a lot of publicity for the brand.
Because I always felt Spiritual Gangster, such a cool product, such a cool name. And at the time, there was only that I can remember was Lululemon, and then Spiritual Nectar comes out, and then these other brands have come out after it.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
Viori's done a great job
Right.
of doing what we wanted to do and just
Right.
got it to market, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, so yeah, we were the first people in that space.
But it still exists, right?
It still exists, and I mean, it's like a $20 million brand. It's down from its top, but I think they have a good CEO in there right now. But they're just still trying to figure out the product and who they are and what they stand for. I think that early on in that space, we were really clear of who we were, and we had a lot of early on success. And then it kind of we lost sort of our identity,
Mhm.
and I think Spiritual Gangs is trying to figure out who it is.
Do you have any trips planned in the future? Because I know you travel a lot.
I'm going skiing in Colorado on Wednesday. Then I'm going to LA. And then I'm going to Costa Palmas, Mexico next week. And then I'm going to New York and then back in Mexico. But yeah, I'm always on the go.
The Joe Dispenza thing, is that going to be a silent retreat? Because I remember Craig DeMarco went on a 7-day, I don't know if it's Joe Dispenza, a 7-day silent retreat.
So it's interesting. It's not silent, but there's long processes. There's one thing, he did a 5-hour pineal gland meditation. But after, like in India, we were meditating from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. So, I mean, when you tell me, hey, you get to go meditate 8 or 9 hours a day, I love it. That's
the gurus invited me.
I freaking love it.
They invited me to go to India, and it was what was it, 6 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, you can go 2 weeks at a time, but I would tell you, I have not seen anyone there who it didn't change their life. Blake's an example. He's going back for his other 2 weeks.
Did he do 2 weeks?
He did 2 weeks. He's on the do. Gracie's done 6 weeks. James has done 6 weeks.
They're next
and if
level.
you look at the people who've gone through it,
right?
I mean, that's the beautiful. You see the transformation in them. But a lot of these things, and you and I have done a lot of different things. Is you get it, you get the information, but it's tough to sustain it. And I think, what I found is, and even the meditation, it's you get it, but then you stay connected with it. And it's my life continually gets better, but I also I'm always doing these practices.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not living from a suffering state anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not stressed out.
I'm also getting back to biohacking. I've done this thing called TPE. Have you heard of it?
No.
Total plasma exchange.
Oh, I saw that. I have seen it.
I've done 2 of them.
I've seen your bags.
I'm doing the 3rd one next week.
So how do you feel after that?
That's such a good question. And so many people ask me, and I don't know how I feel afterwards. I got to pay attention because I'm just always on the go. So I'm doing another one. I'm doing a 3rd one. So they take all your plasma out and they add in protein, and it's supposed to be really, really good for you. I've done Ibu a few times. You done Ibu?
Yeah, I like Ibu.
Yeah, I've done Ibu I just did Ibu 2 days ago, but I'm going to do this total plasma exchange.
You should do Ibu while you're getting your podcast.
I thought about that. I have a guy says he'd do it, but I'm going to do the plasma exchange, and then I'm going to go to Mexico and get natural killer cells.
Yep. So I've heard of those, and I've seen. So will you tell me, because this is something great to talk about, what are the 3, you've done, you name it.
Right.
What are the 3 things you've done that you feel the difference?
That I feel
if they said, okay, Johnjay.
Okay, I'll tell you. Here's one thing I did that I felt immediately different after, and that's one of the weirdest things. I did a lymphatic massage.
Yeah, those are great.
I've never had one of those.
Have you done the suits? Have you done the suits where they put you in the suit?
I've done that before, yeah. But the lymphatic thing, I felt totally different afterwards. But the thing about the stem cells and the NK cells and the TPE is that it's not necessarily you feel different. It's just cleaning all the crap out of your body, right? I mean, I've got... I
felt noticeably different after stem cells, immediately.
Right.
30% boost.
Yeah. Just wait till you get the real stem cells.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm in.
All right. Okay, Ian. That's good. Is that good? It's good. We wrap it up with Ian right there because I know you got to be somewhere pretty soon, right?
Great. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man. Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show.